wanted to introduce everybody to Sue, and I'm going to let her introduce herself as well. And I wanted to share with you, I want to set the intention for this interview, because the intention for this interview is that I'm, as a doctor, right? Dr. Patricia Mills, medical doctor, health transformation expert, functional medicine, all that lovely stuff. I find that I'm always talking about stress management, right? Like we need to manage our stress to balance our hormones, especially that cortisol hormone, our stress hormone cortisol. And I recognize that it's really easy to say, right? Go balance, go manage your stress, but it's very hard to do. And everybody's going to have that key for their lock, like the thing that works in their life to unlock the stress piece, right? And it's usually not just one thing, it's many things.
Yes.
But Qigong for me has been the thing. So when you approached me and you said, I help women and I do Qigong online, and you offered to be here today with us, I was just so grateful. So Donna has joined us as well. Good morning, Donna. So lovely to see you. Thanks for joining. So Sue, over to you. Please introduce yourself and tell us about this wonderful practice you've got going on.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here in your community, which is so vibrant, and you give so much to everybody in this community. I've been following for quite a while, and what a gift. You really are helping people in a very authentic way. So it's beautiful to see that, especially from, that medical professional side. So I know you've got this beautiful integrated approach, which, wow, what a gift. I really do think that's unique. So thank you. My name is Sue Crites, and I am a certified Qi-Gong instructor and a master healer. And I live in Alberta, Canada, so I'm not too far from you. Very cold here today, though. It's 30 below this morning when I got up, and I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, but it's yin time. So we're supposed to be inside and nesting, so perfect. And I've been practicing and teaching Qigong I've been teaching for about 10 years and practicing for, I guess, about 15. And it's just funny, just in your introduction, you talked about, how do we balance stress? How do we approach some of these challenges that we know our doctor, or we even know for ourselves, we need to do? And for me, it's a funny story, because I came to Qigong, I had hip bursitis that I just couldn't clear, and I went to the physio, the doctor, the chiropractor, the massage therapist. I went to an energy healer, and nothing would help this hip. And when we have an itis, it's just this inflammation that not doing the same thing all the time, that's not what aggravates it. It's whatever I do aggravates it. And so I was really frustrated. And I remembered that a naturopath that I trained under when I was trained in auricular medicine, which we can talk about another time, but he had said, Qigong can help you with your clients, but can also help with physical pain. And at the time, the form that he was sharing did not resonate with me. It was all in Chinese, and it was like a VHS cassette. I know I'm really dating myself, but it just wasn't for me. So when I had this hip issue, I went on YouTube and I found my teacher at the time, who still is my teacher, on a YouTube video. And I just started following along on YouTube. I didn't know really much about the practice, but I was looking for something. And, I didn't practice every day. I just did it once in a while. But what I found was that my young kids that I had at the time, they seemed not to fight so much. My husband seemed nicer. My home didn't seem as small. I found there was so much beauty in nature, like the colors seemed to change. And I forgot all about my hip. And talking about the stress management, I actually didn't realize all the stress that I was under in my life at that time. I was a chronic overthinker. So, everything that was going on, I churned and churned and churned. And I didn't know that wasn't normal until it started to leave from Qigong. And then I remember feeling like this sweet relief where there seemed to be like space in my brain, and in my life, I had more time. It's like time slowed down. So I was just so intrigued, and I just started studying. And I practiced at home, and I then got a level 1 certification and a level 2 and all the way up to level 5. And then I became an instructor, and now I teach weekly online. I have a community, and I'm just so grateful to this practice for what it's brought to my life, in all ways, in all forms. And I've gone through many challenges where Qigong has just been the star of the show, helping me get through those challenges. So yeah, I'm very grateful to this practice that I found it.
Wow, Sue, thank you. That was so beautiful. I got chills listening to it. I want to reflect on a few things that you said to really highlight, because I I feel like many of us have similar stories. There's differences in the specifics, but the underlying thread of it is like really, really the same in many ways. Like having that life where you have that constant running thoughts in your brain and you're not even aware of it until something happens where you become aware of it. So that level of awareness, of having that level of awareness, and then trying to figure out what to do about it, and then having also those moments in your life where you have the trigger and the response. The trigger could be your kids yelling and or demanding things. Like it feels like a demand rather than a request, and the demands of your work and your partner. And then having something like Qigong, where that moment between the trigger and your response versus a reaction. So if you don't have something like Qigong in your life, you're just reacting to everything, right? It's just,
Yeah.
it happens and you react. And oftentimes the reaction, if you were to have that moment to stop and think about how you want to respond, you would probably respond differently than how you would react. So you would react with like an angry tone or a quick sharp remark, or like
Mm.
an angry silence even, right?
Mhm.
Versus like what I found as well with Qigong, I also found Qigong on YouTube. That's so funny, right? Qigong. I
YouTube's
just,
awesome.
I just actually created a YouTube channel and I'm putting a lot of videos there. It's just like, because yeah, it's inspiring. And when I do Qigong and meditation, those two things together, I find that the moment between the trigger and the response, it like widens, it
Mhm.
opens, and it's almost like now this like beautiful, huge space, but it's just for me. It's not for anybody else. No one else knows that I've developed this space,
Mhm.
this internal space of quiet and calm. And then you just have a chance to like think through it. And it's amazing. It's kind of like quantum physics. Like in the same amount of time that you felt like you had no time and no option but to react, you all of a sudden have all of the time in the world to respond. And you get to actually embody all of those decisions that we consciously make. Like, I want to be a calm person, I want to be a grateful person, I want to be a kind person, I want to be patient. And yet when we're living our days, we're reacting out of the subconscious that is like pre-programmed. Just there's no time, there's not enough money, there's anger and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. So could you explain to us, or maybe I'll let you guide us now in terms of what you would like to share with us? Because I could see this going so many ways. You could show us like how you do Qigong, a little taste of it, or you could talk a little bit about what it actually is. Because I imagine that a lot of our viewers don't actually even know what Qigong is. They're like, what are people saying here, Qigong?
Yeah, sure. So, some of what you touched on is really critical too, because that opportunity to respond rather than react is how our practice teaches us to connect to our bodies. So that is really, I think, the biggest thing that this practice does is allows us to learn, helps us to practice how to get out of our heads and to connect to our physical bodies. And so Qigong is an ancient art that forms the basis of Chinese medicine. And it has been around for over 5,000 years. There's thousands of different forms. And really, Qigong simply means moving energy. So you're just working with energy. So Qi is energy and Gong is like to work or to cultivate. And really, it's this reminder that we are not a unique, separate entity. We are an integral component of the universe. So all the elements that made up nature and everything we see on our planet also make up us. We are not different. And, we have this level of consciousness, which is so beautiful, which makes us build and create amazing things like Zoom and Facebook and all these beautiful things that help us spread this message. But also it's really about, we're walking on this planet and we're really all in this together. We're all really part of the same energy. And so when we can learn to slow down a little bit, create a bit of space in our body and our mind and our spirit, we can heal. And, when I say heal, it's really, some people think, well, I'm not sick, so I don't need to heal. It's really not even about that. It's about coming to a place of balance. And we do call that healing because, like I shared my story, I didn't know that there was anything wrong with the way I thought until I found the space where I was able to understand how to react to my kids or my husband or my life in a way that wasn't going to almost cause damage to me. When we get worked up, we are, and as from your background, we are causing damage. And the movement that I teach and practice, the form is called Spring Forest Qi-Gong. And it is, my teacher is Master Cheng-Yi Lin, and he's based in Minnesota. And this form there's many different forms. This is a form of medical Qigong, which means that it is healing. And the other piece to this is it's also a meditative form of Qigong. So it's slow moving and very gentle. So it's accessible to everyone. People can do it standing, sitting, or lying down. And I had an accident in Mexico in March of 2020. I was mountain biking on a mountain in the desert, and I fell. I was with my husband, and I broke my knee. I had a tibial plateau fracture. So I really did a number and tore my ACL. And this is the moment what I was talking about where my practice was so accessible to me. I didn't even realize that I had been training my whole life for just something like that, because I had to get rescued. I had to lie there alone for an hour waiting for help while my husband went and got help. There's snakes and scorpions. But there was 10 seconds where I spun. Like I was like, oh no, what are we going to do? How am I going to get home? What's happened? And then right away, it's like my practice took over and I just started to slow down my breath. I felt my body. I became calm. And I really felt like it was miraculous, my reaction. And I just lay there. I was on the ground in the dirt, and I had my foot up on a rock, and I waited, and it was beautiful. I was doing my Qigong breathing, which I can lead you through in a moment. And I was taking photos of nature, and I was in immense pain, but my breath really made it manageable. Like I was so impressed with myself looking back on all of this. It's like, wow, my practice caught me. It was right there and it caught me. And I didn't go into panic, and I didn't go into that whole fear and what am I going to do? And that changes the healing trajectory right away. And so, yes, I got rescued, and I had to fly back to Canada. I got surgery and all of that. And it's been a long journey. I'm still healing. But my practice gave me so much resilience and strength and connection to a community also that really helped me. So yes, so powerful, this practice.
Wow, that is so cool. Sue, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a specialist in physical medicine and rehabilitation. So
Oh,
yeah, like after medical school, I did my residency training. And so when you said like the hip bursitis and the tibial plateau fracture, my brain goes to like my very complicated, like I'm a very visual person, and I think of all of the schematics, and I think of now, I also think of like the chemical soup of pain and local inflammation, and then the brain starting to activate certain parts, like certain neural networks start getting activated, and that initiates a cascade of hormones flowing through the body. And absolutely, when you're able to consciously activate certain neural networks, like certain circuits in your brain versus other circuits in your brain, certain parts of your brain are responsible for survival, right? Like, and certain parts of your brain are responsible for healing. I mean, it has to be like, that's not woo woo, right? That's
Yes.
absolute science. And what you spoke of there was that we cannot heal when we're running from a tiger. We are supposed to be like activating all of those stress responses to be able to like survive that catastrophic event. We heal in the aftermath when the tiger is gone and you're like in a cave or a safe space,
Yes.
and then you calm yourself down and then the healing begins. And what you did is you basically short-circuited that entire stress response, and you got your neural networks activated for healing. And so and not only did that make the entire experience for you better, because some people, what they get is post-traumatic stress disorder. You could have very well, and I have met people who have had this happen to them, where they have an event such as what you experienced, where you're alone in a foreign place, in a potentially dangerous, as you said, with scorpions, and the tibial plateau fractures are excruciatingly painful. You know, and you basically created this like experience for yourself that did not trigger this repetitive traumatic stress disorder. And for anyone who has this, I want you to know that it is possible to stop that loop from being activated in your brain with things like Qi-Gong. So it's not too late. Like, it's obviously easier if you can stop it from developing in the first place, like what Sue did. But it absolutely is possible to take things like stress, chronic traumatic stress, and pain, chronic pain, and use portals into your neurology, like portals into that neural circuits. And one of the portals that we can control is our breath. Like, it's very hard to control your heart rate. It's hard to control your sweating. It's hard to control the size of your pupils, but you can control your breath. And your breath is a very interesting part of your neurology, because your breath is something that is involuntarily managed by your body, like unconscious. We don't have to think about taking the next breath. So it's part of our unconscious system that's behind the scenes, but we can access it consciously and voluntarily. And like I said, you can't access that sweating system or pupil constriction system or anything like that, but you can access through your breath.
And
And it's a
Patricia,
portal.
just this is such a beautiful segue, because really what I've learned over the years and what I teach is that whatever we're doing in our practice, it actually is like a copy paste into our lives. So what we're working on, being flexible with our practice. Oh, I'm more flexible in my life. We're working how to create space with our breath. Oh, I'm creating more space in my life. I can control my breath. There's only certain things I can control. I can control my breath. There's only certain things I can control in my life. The things that I can't control, those are the things I'm learning to let go of. But the things I can, like my behavior, my reaction, I can control that. And so that's really through my breath. And so that's really what takes, like, I just love how the practice teaches us these little things, like being compassionate with ourselves and learning to love ourselves for our faults, seeing ourselves as human, transfers into having compassion for ourselves in our life, but compassion for others. So it's sort of this, beautiful translation on what we can control. And it is like quantum physics. We are creating new pathways, neurological pathways in our body, which is creating a different response from a biochemical perspective. And it's just amazing, these analogies. But the stress response also doesn't have to be my extreme example. Just like you were talking about before, the stress in our lives, like from the pressures of the holidays or Christmas or family or all these things, especially as women, we can learn, this practice can help, if it resonates, to control a little bit of what's going on by managing our response. And healing happens when we're relaxed. And so that's really what we're working on with this practice, is creating that space where you can have this opportunity to not be having this flight or flight response, having this peace or contentment feeling while you're doing this. And it maybe only be 10 minutes. you do this practice for. That's often all 2 minutes. I tell my clients, my students, you only have 2 minutes today. That's better than not doing anything. Do you want to do a
100%.
little breathing
I would
exercise?
love to. I know. I was like getting all excited
Okay, so
here.
Qigong is really, it's yin and yang. So the yin is the seated meditation and the yang is the moving practice. So we have both components. And so when we're moving really slowly, and there's, a few different movements in this form. And then when we're doing the seated meditation or just working on our breathing, we combine that with visualization if that works. And if you aren't able to visualize, then we just imagine or pretend. And it's simply the intention we're setting. So I'll just take you through a little breathing exercise and then we'll take it from there. So just relax and drop your shoulders. And I want you to put a gentle smile on your face. So if anyone's listening, just do the same. And my teacher says that SMILE stands for Start My Internal Love Engine. So that's like you're getting like that little purr, right? Like that purr, that little engine. So when you smile, your cells feel it, they react, and the people outside react, your home reacts. So that little smile, just turning up the corner of your lips, even if you don't feel like it, has a powerful effect. And then drop your shoulders. And now just slow down your breath, and you're going to breathe in and out of your nose for this practice. So just take a moment to feel your breath coming in and feel your breath coming out. Just being aware of your breath is very powerful. And now I'm going to layer that with a little visualization. As you're breathing, you visualize you have a light in behind your belly button. There's a powerful energy center called your lower dantian. So as you're breathing, you just pretend or see, if you can, a little light shining there. This is the light of your vitality. It's like a cauldron filled with elixir, your own medicine. And now as you breathe, another layer is coming. I want you just to visualize or imagine that beautiful healing light is coming in through your skin as you breathe. So every pore of your skin opens up and you're breathing in this light, and it's collecting in your lower dantian, in that beautiful cauldron. And when you exhale, you simply release what you no longer need and see it come out of your skin and go back to the ends of the universe. So we're bringing in this beautiful, healing, positive, universal light, and we're releasing whatever we don't need. It's like we're transforming it into something like butterflies or smoke or mist, and simply letting go. And so as you do this breath, just the simple visualization, you're creating space and spaciousness in not only your body and your cells, but also in your mind and your spirit. And this little clearing of these three energetic bodies essentially is how we can heal and how we can become in alignment. So just this little visualization. So I'll just leave you without speaking for another breath. Feeling that smile, and then just bring your focus back to your little light in your navel, and you can take a couple of breaths. And you can slowly open your eyes, and I'll give you a little closing exercise where you just rub your hands together, palm to palm, and then just massage your face in this heart shape. So your fingers go up the bridge of your nose, palms over your eyes, down along the jawline. So it's like a little heart. So this is helping ground us, and we're connecting some meridian points. And then you're done. How did that feel to you, Patricia?
That was phenomenal. Wow, I just dropped right in, just that wave, that like cascading kind of
Yeah.
waterfall feeling of relaxation. And I could,
Beautiful.
you know, I've actually honed my powers of imagination with Qigong, which really harnesses that. I feel like when we lose that power of imagination, and then it's like for some people, just getting that back is part of the
Yeah.
process.
Yes.
But I could see and I could feel that light within. And I see that there are some other women who've joined our talk, and Jackie and Tessie, welcome ladies. And if anyone wants to put in a comment, if you were able to join that, if you were driving, obviously, like that's not the time to do it.
Watch the replay.
Watch the replay. And wow, thank you so much, Sue. That was so beautiful. And you have such a lovely voice. You know, it was really nice to listen to. It really helped get me deeper. That's one thing I find, like doing these kind of practices on your own versus having someone guide you.
Yeah.
It's different. It's not better or worse. It's simply different, you know, because when you're on your own, you can guide how long you can do it for. But when you're with someone, they can take you deeper than you've ever like taken yourself sometimes, right?
It's true. And we have these chi fields, which is this beautiful energetic field around us. And so when we're working with someone else or in a group, it's like the chi fields magnify. So we all get even more benefits than if we were practicing alone. So it's like a synergy. But yes, you do tend to go deeper. And just that little breathing that you can do anytime, even while you are driving with your eyes open, but just that's an idea to connect to your body. And when you do that, you're going to get more energy. You're going to release a lot of pain. If you've got pain, you're going to help balance your body, mind, spirit, calm the emotions, and you're getting grounded. So this is going to help you with any response or reaction that you might need to address. So super simple, but very powerful.
Very powerful. And I always love, because I know some people are really like the hard edge science. And when they hear things like chi energy fields, ladies, I just want you to know that science has actually measured these energy fields. They created this wonderful, it's like a very sensitive EEG that you would typically put on your brain, and you can measure the brain waves. When they make the sensitivity in the instrument even better, they can take it out and they can read your brain waves from out here, which means that we are emanating our energetic patterns into our environment. So when Sue says that we have these fields, and that if you get yourself into a room, and interestingly, it's definitely more powerful in person. I have found when I deliver my group sessions in Zoom and I get women in a group interacting together, I feel it also. And that's kind of really cool, because I didn't expect that when we had to transition to Zoom. And while I definitely would prefer to do this in person, I find that when I know that there's a group of people doing, and we have the same intention at the same time, and we're doing these kinds of things together, you do get that energy. And it's just so fascinating to me, because I feel it like it's
very tangible. It's very tangible over Zoom. My group, you can just feel the chi field is so strong. And we were all shocked, at the power. And I find even teaching classes, certification classes, people are more relaxed at home. So I have found that they are easier to teach, and they tend to go deeper because they tend to be more relaxed versus having to travel somewhere. And, I do love in person also, but it's been a beautiful epiphany that people are very content at home, and that does affect their energy and their ability to be relaxed.
Absolutely. Well, Sue, thank you so much for joining me today, and for helping us breathe through the morning's technical issues, which, hurrah, I figured out a way. I still want to figure out how to go live like I used to just 3 weeks ago. I don't know what happened there, but the Zoom, this worked very well. And you and I will connect to see how we can continue to collaborate. Now, for women who have watched this and will watch this, a lot of women tend to watch this after the fact. How can they find you should they want to explore this a little bit deeper? Like, do you have Instagram or a Facebook group, or, how can they find you?
Yeah, I am on Instagram, Sue Crites Qigong, and we have 100-day Facebook group. That's a 100-day practice Facebook group. And I can drop a link, my website, suecrites.ca. I have a free little breathing guide, kind of like what we did here, but there's a PDF with the cute little instructions. And I have a 5-minute Qigong video practice that is free. So I can drop those links in the comments after.
Wonderful. That's so great. Yeah, if you could drop all of that down. Some people don't know how to spell Qigong, so that will be helpful.
Absolutely.
And I just want to give a shout out to a few of the ladies who joined, who were part of my Wild Collective in the past: Shira, Irina, Donna. It was so lovely to see you ladies here again today. This is what I love. This space is connecting with people that otherwise might lose connection with, and through this we're basically connected for life. So that just fills me with a sense of warmth and happiness.
Of course.
And Sue, I have a feeling that we will have many fruitful collaborations in the future. That's what my energy is sensing with you, because you have a beautiful energy. So I thank you, and I wish you a very, very happy rest of your day. And ladies, for everyone who's watching, hope you have a lovely day, evening, or night, depending on when
Thank you so
catch
much,
it.
Patricia, for having me. And yes, I'd love to come back again. And I feel the same about you. So yes, we're going to have some fun, and yeah, have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.